Hey everyone, I can see myself finally, so I guess we should be live now. Um, yeah, as always, I hope you're doing great. I hope you're excited for this new community stream. And if that's the case, we'll be starting rather soon. As always, I'm leaving a few minutes for people to join, but also to make sure that you guys can hear me well. So, the few of you that are watching can confirm in the chat that you can hear me well, that would be fantastic. And then we'll be starting with the community stream itself. Today we have quite some exciting news and elements to share because we will be still talking about um, the clan wars that we started to talk about the last time. And I will also be showing to you guys some new elements of the new UI. Hey Destroyer, welcome to the community stream and glad to hear that the sound is okay. Cool. So yeah, we'll be talking about the new UI. We'll be talking about the um, next changes coming to the game, obviously, and that includes as well talking about the clan wars as well. Pretty much the last time I presented to you one of the main contestants for the design that we were looking at. Today, I want to introduce you to another one. Um, it's not radically different, and the most likely scenario is that ultimately, at one point, those two will merge into one bigger thing. Um, but yeah, just we'll elaborate on that a bit further. Okay, I'm just gonna wait a tiny bit more because we started 1 or 2 minutes late, and then we'll be starting with the easy fight for today. The armies are obviously including our lovely RDs and Celestial Spire because they're boosted this week, so that would be a shame not to use them. And I've seen that quite a few of you seem to enjoy this time around the Twisted Curse event. That's something we like to do, but you won't have it for the next era because the next era you will have another event instead, which we call the Faction War, and I will get to that in a minute. But without further ado, let's start the fight night, the easy one. Let me just trigger it there. Okay, so we should be good to go now. We'll start with Gorkamorka. There we go. Then we will have Wredny Dupek, BlackHat, Eiriel, Perokl, Trusischka, Testoviron, Harigol, WhiteHat. And I will stop there because then we get into a Russian name that I'm avoiding to pronounce every single week because I have no idea how to pronounce that. Um, so yeah, why aren't you going to have another Twisted Curse event with the next era? Simply because there will be what we call the faction wars. Um, the faction war is something that we want to alternate between the Twisted Curse and the faction war. It's gonna work pretty similarly, but it's gonna take um, it's gonna be based on the faction advantages that we introduced a couple of weeks back now. And the idea will be that during the faction war, we will exaggerate for this 1 week event. We will exaggerate quite drastically the the benefits of the different factions against one another. So right now, the buffs and the debuffs that you're getting are interesting, but they're not insane. They're not necessarily game changing. During this event, the point is that there will be game changing. We might even add some more on top. We'll see, but that will be the point of this event. We'll test it out with this next era, and if it's working fine, we will alternate. This way, there's a bit more variety, and it's not always a Twisted Curse event, which is cool, but can get also a bit repetitive if it's always the same. And we're doing our best to find ways to be creative with that. But yeah, I just realized, by the way, that I didn't move my dog's bed, old bed, that is right there behind me. It's funny because um, you're pretty much in the space that serves as my office, and one of my dogs is always coming by. And so at one point when we changed and got them new dog beds, we decided, okay, let's put one of them in here so that he can come over and be a bit more comfy. Weirdly enough, it's the other dog that was never coming to my office place that is now always coming to go into this dog bed that was not even his dog bed. So I don't know why, but mysteries of dogs. Anyway, back to Battle Legion. Just explain to you what was the faction war, and that should be the next thing we do to get people a bit excited around the end of the season. In general, it's important for us to get some excitement going at the end of the era. Sorry, end of the last season of the last era. Okay, so we are gonna slowly get to already the end of um, the easy and normal fight night. Right after that, I will be sharing with you some more details about the next UI of the game. So, UI, for those that are not aware, stands for the user interface. And as we already stated, we are making some big changes there coming very soon now. The hope is still for early next month to start deploying it. And last week, I showed you the game mods hub, which will pretty much allow you to have access to all the different um, gameplay of the games in one space. So you will still always have the fight button available anywhere all the time, so that you can jump into. Hey, Shilius, welcome. So that you can jump into the PvP mode right away. But with the game mode hub that we created, you will be able to see your red bosses, the GRB, the skirmish events, and all of that. All of it will be in one place. And on the longer run, the clan wars and all of it. Um, Today, what I'm going to show you is different, but it's something you get. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Yeah, so what I'm going to show you today is something that you guys have been requesting for a long while, because I'm going to share with you the battle reports. To be more precise, what I'm going to show you is the last working version, last, sorry, how do, a preview, so to say. It's the last mock version. That's the word I was looking for. I've seen what it looks like in game. At this point, we are pretty much 90% there. There's still a few tweaks that are needed and a few icons that are not there yet. So if I was sharing the actual stage in game right now, it would be a bit buggy, and some fonts are not the good size, etc. So I'm going to share with you the mock-up, which is a bit cleaner to present to you, but it's pretty much the same, with one or two differences that I will get to, and you will be able to see what the battle reports are. As a reminder, what we plan to do with this feature is that when you finish a fight during this screen where you have your reward, etc., you will have a button allowing you to go to that battle report. For the time being, it's most likely only going to be available this way. On the longer run, depending on the memory consumption, maybe we'll be able to either display somewhere in the game, have the last 10 battle reports available or something like this, or to allow yourself, that would be on that screen pretty much, or to allow yourself to save a few battle reports that you want to keep, um, and look into. That would come in a second state, mostly because first we need to make sure that the system is working as intended, and then we can see, in terms of memory that we are not making the game too heavy just by this. I don't think it would be the case, but I'm quite sure we will have to limit it. So like you will not be able to access 2000 battle reports because that would take a lot of server calls if we keep it on the server side, and if we keep it on the client, that would use a lot of memory space or something that will rarely be used. So we will most likely keep it limited. I would expect, as I said, something like 5 to 10 is probably going to be the case. Destroyer, you're saying that it keeps freezing. You're meaning the game screen? Because right now I'm checking the YouTube, the YouTube Direct at the same time. I don't see any cracks, so I would feel like it's on your side. But please, if anyone else is feeling the same or experiencing the same, please let me know, and we'll look into it. From what I see so far, it would seem to be on your end. But again, the mysteries of YouTube, sometimes it can show as working perfectly fine for me and not for you. So let's see if anyone else is having the same situation. Okay, so pretty much 1 minute, and then I show you. Well, 1 minute. It depends on the time of on the duration of this fight. I think I already told you in one of the last streams that I was quite excited that we were getting Mantis added to the game, but I also was afraid of Mantis when I was a kid. So I was so afraid of Mantis that I decided to get one tattooed because I'm this kind of stupid person. Anyway, um, yeah, so I left that screen on for a few seconds because that's where you would get access to the battle reports. Um, you would okay, good luck with the restart destroyer. Let's see if it solves things up for you. So yeah, on the screen you would have access as you do right now. You have the season pass button, you have your rewards that you're getting and all of that, and there you would have a button that would allow you to get to the battle reports. So here we go. Let me show you the battle reports. You should still be able to hear me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so that's a mock-up. As I said, it's gonna be 95% similar. You might have a few things that will change, in terms of the size of the elements, etc. But that's pretty much what you should expect. It will, of course, display the two players. We wanted to show the two players' avatars and the artifacts used and such again for one reason, and it's because, well, first of all, for the artifacts, it's interesting if you're looking at the data, but also showing the avatars is also something we think is going to be interesting because a lot of the times you don't necessarily focus too much. Okay, Destroyer, you're saying that you can hear me better and it's not freezing up like it was. Okay, so it seems like it was on your side. I hope that it won't be breaking up too much for you. So, yeah, we want to show the avatars and such because we are hoping to have more animated avatars on the longer run and stuff like that. And at least you would be able to show them off also in the battle reports. The battle reports will obviously state if you had a victory or a defeat. That will always be from your point of view. And then it will list your units. So you will be able to scroll down by tapping on the screen. You will be able to scroll down and see the list of all your units. They will be grouped so that the same type is showing up um, consecutively. And so you will have the units. You will know how much damage dealt. You will be able to see how much damage they basically received. You will be able to see if they healed some other units, and the upgrade is showing you the level that your unit. No, sorry, the upgrade is not for the level. I'm saying something stupid here. Let me recheck because I have it just there because I don't want to say something wrong. I'm rechecking how they called it now in the game because we have the proper way. At the moment, they still call it upgrade, so I don't know what they were referring to. It should be, since it's a mock-up, I would expect that it's the reason why the numbers are not aligned, and it should be indeed the level that you have for those groups. So that's why right now, even if those units showing up are at level 50, it's only saying level 12. I would assume it's because it's a mock-up, because I just checked the in-game version and it was showing matching data. So you will be able to see the level of the units. One thing that you can see in there that you will probably not be able to see in the final version will be the power stones of your opponents. Right now, you can see them. What we are planning to do is that you will not be able to see them at first. And on the longer run, we might add a feature that will allow you to spy on a player if you want to know the power stones that they use. Something like this. This way, we could pretty much limit your knowledge. You will never be able to know all the power stones that your opponent is using. You would only be able to know up to, I don't know, 60% or something like this. And you cannot pick which ones you want to know. So we would reveal some of them randomly to give you some hints, but not kill the mystery, so to say. And that would potentially come on the longer run, but at the beginning, you will be able to see all the other elements. You will not be able to see um, the power stones of the opponent. And one last point that is still being looked into and should come on the longer run, but I'm not sure if it's going to be there from the get-go yet, is a way to sort the units. So as you can see here on the mockup, the damages are highlighted, and this allows you to tap on damage and basically filter the units by the damage that they dealt. At the moment, it's not 100% sure if this function will be there right from the get-go. I'm quite sure it will come later on if we have the bandwidth to do it. Uh, that is the most likely scenario for that battle reports. Um, Destroyer, you're saying that it sounds interesting and that would be a good addition. I'm not sure if you're talking about the battle reports in general or if you were talking about this spying mechanism that I was mentioning or being able to sort and filter the units on the battle reports. Ultimately, we wanted to have the battle stats because, um, well, on one end, it's something that players have been asking for pretty much forever. Uh, but at the same time, it's also something that is extremely valuable for new players. When you're a newer player and you get into the game, you might have a hard time understanding which one of your units is not doing what you want them to do. You think that all of it sounds great. That's cool. I mean, that's the ideal scenario. So thank you for that, Destroyer. But yeah, if you're a newcomer, it can help you drastically understand the mechanism of the games. And if you're a seasoned player, that will allow you to do two things. The first one is still, dissect and check into the strategies and stuff, which I know a lot of you enjoy doing this. But the other reason, which I think is nearly as important, is that it will allow you guys to show off. Let's be real. If you have an incredible battle report where you completely slammed your opponent, on top of potentially sharing the video of the fight, if you catch that, I'm sure you guys will be at least sharing the battle reports. And I can already say that there will be a battle reports section and battle reports contests going on Discord. That's guaranteed to happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen right away, but it's guaranteed to happen for sure. Okay, so let me just grant the reward for the easy fights. And now we'll move to the hard one. Let's go live. We have everything ready. So, yeah, that's it for now regarding battle reports. And here I am back. Uh, I will just close that. Okay, so now it's time for the advanced hardcore fight night. So let's get right into it. It's an army that is pretty close to the one we used last week, except I switched some of the units for RDs and I put some Celestial Spires because, especially with the extended range, thanks to Power Stones, it's quite fun to play. I'm pretty much sure that I will get uh, blasted by most of you, but we'll see. Hey, Paulius, welcome to the stream. You're asking why there are only 7 people watching. So that's pretty much something that has been happening a lot with the streams, is that we get most of our views after the streams because people watch it a lot in replays. They watch pretty much whenever it's the most convenient for them. So we usually have only a small group of players that will be able to watch at the time we're streaming. We've been asking the players several times if they would prefer for us to change the time at which we stream, but so far it was always received with mixed feedback of saying no, let's just keep it this way. Some people simply prefer to have the replays, and yeah, that's mostly the reason why. I mean, another reason might be that my voice is not the nicest thing to hear for a long time during the entire stream, but there's not so much I can do about that, sadly. Okay, let's go with the fight night. And we have. Wait, no, the event didn't start yet. Okay, I forgot to validate on the yes button. So let's get out of here. That was a free, useless fight. Now we'll be starting. Sorry about that, guys. So the first player will be Steiny. Then we have Shelius. We have Scar. We have Deathly Hollows. We have Nicholas. We have Sam, King Elric, Shiver, Admiral, the Hack. And that should be for our first 10 players. And yeah, the so famously infamous at this point displaces. Again, I'm going to say it again because I know it's something you guys keep on asking. The displacer nerf is coming. I don't have more news compared to when we discussed it last week, so I'm not sure there's much else I can share on that, but it is coming. So it's most likely, well, it's happening with the next era, most likely beginning of the season. But yeah, until I have the final confirmation, I cannot do much more there. Oh, that's the Battle of the Armies. Okay, so since we talked about the UI, since we talked about the faction wars that will be coming at the end of the era, then the next big topic is a follow-up to the discussion we had last week about the concepts we're working on for Clan Wars. Last week I shared with you the concept that was the most advanced so far, which is a fairly easy fighting design with a slightly different game mechanic that would include a slight tower defense aspect. Um, the other concept that is getting a lot of favors from the game team is one that is pretty much the extension of this. So one of the concepts we explained last week is that we want to have a system that is easy to get added into the game and that we can expand on going forward. And so the idea was, okay, let's just have a basic fighting system where you get attributed a clan to fight against. You can pick within a player's list the player you want to attack. You have a limited amount of attacks that you can run. You have cooldowns so that you cannot attack consistently the same player. And so you need to sync with your teammate to decide who is going to attack who, because between the cooldowns and the limited number of attacks, you need to synchronize and decide who's going to attack who. When you are attacking players, you're getting points depending on your level and their level. Well, it's not the level per se because most players will be rank 16, but between the power of their army and the power of yours, and the first team that gets the needed amount of points to win the fight is winning the fight. That leads you to a leaderboard with all the um, with all the other clans, and you get rewards. So that's one concept, the one we described last week. The other concept is what we were discussing as being potentially the extension or the second step of that concept I just described. So instead of starting with this super easy battle mechanism with just a leaderboard, and later on add stuffs like having an actual map on which you have points of interest to capture, etc. The other way around is to start with this. And so that would be a clan war system where several clans, not only two clans, so not only your clan and an opposite clan, but several clans, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 10, I don't know, would be accessing a map, and there would be tons of points of interest for you guys to go and pick. You need to attack them with your clans to lower their points, kind of like a big red boss, so to say. You would lower the points until you get the control of that point of interest. And once you have the control of that point of interest, then other clans can attack the members of your clan that were attributed to defend that um, that point of interest. If all of them are defeated, then it's the other clan that gets the possession of the point of interest, etc. The idea would be that the map would be so big that there's no way for one clan to basically wipe everyone else. There would always be they would not have enough players to defend all of the points of interest they would conquer anyway. So they would have to pick their point of interest. And the idea is that each point of interest would come with different rewards. So there, instead of fighting for a leaderboard with rank rewards, you would fight for points of interest. And depending on the strength of your um, clan, you would target the smaller ones that you know you can protect, that are not that attractive for the top guys, or you would go for the top guys because the top ones, because you know your clan is one of the best out of the 10 that are in there. And depending on the point of interest you are able to defend, you would end up getting um, the rewards attributed to it. One thing that would be interesting with this system is that the fight for defending the point of interest would also be something that you know from the game, but that you've never been doing on your in your own way, which is the opposite of the skirmish. The idea, the concept would be when you attack a point of interest that has not been attacked yet, that would be pretty much like a red boss or a global red boss. You have, a big. It's not going to be it would probably be a building rather than a unit, but you would have a big boss, a big castle, whatever it is, to defeat. When collectively you have defeated it, then you need to select players and you could, that's the concept that was toyed with so far, but you could put those players as waves similar to the skirmish. So the defensive line would be, hey, we have those 5 armies that needs to be defeated. It's this player, then the wave from this player, then it's the army from this player, then the army of this player, and then this one. And if a team wants to conquer our point of interest, they will need to be able to fight all of those waves in one go. And that's one of the concepts we're toying with, which would make the offensive quite interesting as well. Um, and the other way we could think of is to have the 5 waves. And instead of you picking which ones you want, or well, you could still pick an order, but let's say what we could say is a player needs to defeat 3 waves, like in the skirmish, and then there's a cooldown, they cannot attack, and it needs to be another player from their clan that is attacking and trying to defeat the next 3 waves, etc., until there's no more waves because there's no more players in your clan. So with the the clan size that we're talking about, 3 waves would not necessarily work, but the idea would be that either the offensive army ends up using up their tries before cooldown and they don't manage to kill the last of the waves, or they manage to get all the waves done with the different tries that they had in their army, in their clan, and be done with it. So could be an interesting way. Sorry. My bad. I'm sorry about that. I know it's not nice to cough in a microphone, so I'm sorry for your ears. Um, okay, I'm able to breathe. I didn't die. Everything is fine. So yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, that's the second concept we're working on. As I was saying earlier, it is also possible that those two concepts ends up being both there ultimately, and that the only difference is where do we start from? Do we start from simple fights and leaderboards, or do we start from the actual map and points of interest, and then we add leaderboards and targeting of different clans, etc. It could also be that we end up having 2 different concepts for fight for clan wars, and that we basically have both of them. One of them is implemented first, the second one could come later, and we alternate between the both to get some more variety of action. Of course, if that was the case, then it would necessarily be for way longer to get the 2 of them. So first one, it's basically the big thing we're going to be working on this year, and I hope that it will be able to come quite soon. If we have to add a second one, then I wouldn't expect the second one to come until end of the year or maybe next year. On the other end, if it's one big event, then the first step would come as soon as we can. Then the second step could come at the end of the year or very early next year. That's the way I see it happening at least. But we'll have more details about that a bit later when we get closer to the release. As I said the other time, and I will repeat it as well, right now the team is heavily, heavily, heavily focused on getting the UI done and ready for the game. And once this is released, we will be able to move out and move to the not move out, move on. Sorry, to the clan wars, and that's going to be a big thing for us, for you guys as well. I hope that it will be a big thing. The idea with this event is that it's for us, it's what has always been missing in the game. We have those 2 concepts we are toying with. Let's see which concept will be picked as the initial step. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much where we stand on that point. Also, my winning rate is going down quite quickly, despite the super powerful armies and Celestial Spire. I was expecting it because pretty much everyone has been using um, armies and Celestial Spires this week, so I guess a lot of people know how to defend on them. And it's, I mean, it's pretty old school units that have a lot of, well, they have a strong fan base, but everyone knows how to counter them as well. So I shouldn't be expecting too much from that build, but yeah, I did enjoy it. Okay, guys. So, do you have any question? Anything that you would like to talk about? Otherwise, there's a few things I can still discuss and bring up, obviously, but I want to make sure that I also leave you the time to bring up any questions you may have, any concerns, any reactions to what I just shared as well, in terms of what could be the concept for the clan wars as well. Um, as far as I'm aware, those are the two main concepts that are still being looked at the moment. So it's not like I'm gonna be sharing another one the next time we talk. We yeah, we pretty much have only those two ones that really made the cut, and we'll see from there where we go. But that's the main ones. Also, the next time we will be talking, so that's in 2 weeks. It should be more than likely. It should be the last time we would have the community stream before we would release the new UI. So the next time I will be able to show you. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I keep having the headset disconnecting. I think it has it's a tiny bit low on battery for today, so that's something I will need to take care of as well. So yeah, um, I lost track of what I was saying. No, I was talking about the new UI. Next time, either we are pretty much super close to the release, so a couple of days before, and in this case, I can probably show you the UI, like an actual video of how it looks when you navigate into the game, in the different sections, etc. Or I cannot show you yet this because the final build is not ready with everything in. And in this case, we would at least show you the commander screen, uh, and with potentially teasing you the designs of the commanders. As a reminder, for those that are wondering what are the commanders, commanders are pretty much the commander for your army. So at the moment, it's something we're implementing mostly because it will serve as a hub for the game, and also because in the tutorial phase that will be quite interesting for new players to link all of the different elements together. On the longer run, once the commander feature is implemented, we will be able to give bonuses to the commanders. So you could have commanders that are faction boosting, but you could also have commanders that have, I don't know, that are just simply better for range units, or that are better for swarm builds, or we'll basically design commanders effects based on that. It's not clear yet if either the commanders are getting a buff that we grant them from the get-go, and that's it, or if it's going to be something you guys level up by using one commander. So by picking one commander, using it in fights, you get experience for that commander. The more experience that commander is getting, the more you will start to be able to level up the effect that it has, and potentially, we could even imagine having you pick between different options of the effects that you want for one commander. It depends on if we decide to have a big amount, a big number of potential commanders, and for you guys to switch in between them, or if we decide to have only a few commanders, but with more variety of effects to pick up from. So that's still to be determined. The thing that that will be nice with the commanders too is that we will be able also to sell cosmetics for the commanders. Probably, there will be some for Eternite and some for gems, etc. But the commanders, because they will be bigger and displayed in your game hub directly, well, the one you picked, that means you will be able to see the details of the cosmetic that you're buying a lot better. One thing that we know is sometimes frustrating with the skins in Battle Legion is that they look sometimes super cool when you are able to zoom in drastically, etc. There are a lot of details that you won't be able to see in game because it's just too small. So having that kind of things on the commander that is going to be on the bigger display, that will help as well. Escar, so you're saying that it will definitely be fun. Well, we hope so. And you're wondering, will there be a unit that costs points, or is it going to be a separate thing? It's going to be a separate thing. They are not joining your army, as in they're not fighting. They're the commanders. So they, if you want to think about it, they're not like Alexander the Great, that was commander of his army, but was also on the battlefield in the forefront. They are more of the commander that is the strategist behind and basically set up his army, like in the Roman Empire. Guy set up his army. He has his thousands of guys in front, and yes, basically the idea is that they would be in the corner with pom-poms. No, to be honest, what we are looking at right now is that just before the fight, during the 3-1 fight, um, we would have the two commanders facing one another with a catchphrase that you can select. That would that you can either select or even maybe create, but I think to avoid tons of insults and stuff to happen, it will probably something you have to pick between selected options, or maybe it will randomly run from one to the other. But the two commanders will face each other during the 3-1 fight, which will also allow players to see the cosmetic of the commander of their opponents. The one thing, though, that is a bit particular if we do this is that it would make it harder to just screenshot during the 3-1 to spy on your opponent's army, but it shouldn't be as much of a problem since you will have battle reports which are pretty much giving you that information. Please, can I fart in your general direction? P1 got to have a Monty Python joke in there. I mean, I'm all in for a Monty Python joke because, well, I'm a huge Terry Gilliam's fan, and I would be delighted with this. If I had to pick one, obviously I would go, with the 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 French the French guys on the top of the castle in the Holy Grail. That would be, yeah, obviously my choice as well. So yeah, that works for me. I'm all fine with that. That being said, I don't know what will be the picks. I would assume that we would have to be cautious with quotes that are from actual movies and such, because we could have legal issues with them, or rather, we would have to ever so slightly alter them to not be annoyed. But that's a good suggestion. I will definitely keep that in mind. If we get into that direction, it's definitely something we could go for. But I mean, we could literally just pick sentences from the Monty Python for that if we wanted. There would be enough of them. But then, maybe the solution for what you're suggesting is that one of our commander could be a reference in its design to the Monty Python. The other thing that we could also consider is that the cosmetic that you put on for your commander could also dictate the tonality that is used, or give you access other um, to other jokes and other stuffs to talk into. That's this part is really not defined yet, but overall, the idea on the long run is to have more fun with the commanders once they are sorry, once they are working and implemented in the game, and all the logic behind it is there. It will be a lot easier to expand on that feature if players are happy with it. Again, at the beginning, it will really not be of much interest for the older players because since they won't have an effect right away, it won't be too much, but it will come. The evil bunny would be the true Monty Python commander. Actually, um, the fun thing is I actually suggested that at one point to be one of the red bosses or global red bosses to, instead of having all those um, super big bosses, one of the things I suggested to the team was to have quite an army in front of the player, but they're all protecting one small bunny that is actually the evil bunny, and that is the actual boss you need to deal damages with. I'm not sure they would do it exactly this way, but it's possible that at one point there's this idea of having a global red boss that is actually super tiny and just protected by guardians because ultimately it would also make for slightly different gameplay with the boss if you have to take down the guardians or you know do a diversion where they focus on some units while you have other units that will target specifically the boss. That's something we will be considering for sure. The bunny could cause fear to all units, causing them to run away. I mean, that could be one thing. That could be one thing indeed. Actually, I remember now that when we were talking about the sentences and such, the one that came to my mind that I would have just I would like to have as a commander is just the what is your favorite color? Because that's one of the most absurd but really comical part in the movie for me. The fact that someone could get wrong their favorite color is something that gets me every time. But I didn't watch the Holy Grail in so long. I've always been more of a fan of the Life of Brian. I love them both, to be honest, and all the flying circus and all of that. I've watched it entirely many times. But if we're talking about the movies themselves, I've always been even more impressed with the Life of Brian. Maybe because it's also kind of showcasing a bit what Terry Gilliam will do later on with Brazil and all of that. But yeah, I've always loved the 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 answer to what is your favorite color. Yeah, this one gets me every time. And I guess if we're going Monty Python, maybe the next unit should just be a shrubbery. That's also something we need to consider. Commander biggest diggest. Yeah, I mean, you, that's that's where I would probably start to get issues with my bosses. But that would be fun indeed for sure. But yeah, that gives you an idea of where we're going with for the commanders. And so the next stream we will have together, I will show you guys the commander screen. That will be the main thing that I will be able to show you, unless we have everything ready. As I was saying, it is also possible that by then everything is ready, and if everything is ready, we'll see. If everything is ready, we'll just show you everything, obviously, but we'll see. Okay, do you have guys any other questions or any other wishes for the commanders, or for anything else actually? Any other elements that you wanted to bring up? Again, a reminder, since I'm seeing those on screen at the moment, for the displacer unit, it's being worked on. It shouldn't be a problem for too long anymore. But one thing I didn't mention earlier is that no matter what nerf we do to this unit, it's not going to be massive. We're not going to be making them useless. So if you're a displacer unit user, you will still find reasons to use it. It's not going to be at least our goal is not to make it useless and irrelevant. So it should still be a quite powerful tool to have strategically, but yeah, just making sure it's not as as powerful as it currently is in some situation. Evil displacer users. Yeah, I mean, they're out there, and there's many of them. So I don't want to get into trouble with every single one of our displacer user. Okay, what else can I share with you? Well, next week is gonna be St. Patrick, so yeah, you can expect that the game will look a bit greener than usual. At least there will be some specific skins and offers that will be available for St. Patrick. Um, Again, kind of expected, but always nice to have. After that will be Easter in terms of celebrations that comes with specific units, specific skins, etc. The next one would be Easter. And since we're at the end of the current era, I'm checking if there's anything I can tell you or tease you about the upcoming season, except what I already said. So, except the fact that there will be how do we call that? There will be obviously a ah there will be obviously the come on, the faction war. Couldn't find the word. There will be the faction war at the end of the era, but I'm checking if I have any details about the unit to come. Cannot find it yet. Just checking. I think I don't have all the details shared yet. I've seen the units, I know what it does, but I'm trying to see if there's anything I can tease without sharing too much. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be possible this time. Sorry. By the way, we have about 18 players to go at this point. We have Jam, we'll have Bal, we'll have Riondo, Run2, PSK, Small, Gwynella. Yeah, we have quite a few players still to come. It's cool. And we have a French player, I would suppose, based on the name, that only played twice in the fight war, but once twice. It's Putu, who will be there at the end of the stream as well. That's always funny. Always funny for me to see French nicknames because I'm always wondering how others would pronounce them. For some of them, it's pretty you know easy to get in English, but Some of them are a bit harder. Okay, my winning rate got up quite a fair bit. So it's not that bad. It's not as bad as it was at the beginning of the stream. We still have this very weird thing where, for whatever reason, the tool that we use for the fight night, um, it's a tool that allows us to decide, the rewards we want to have, set all the players in, and from there, we simply get the event running. And whenever a fight is over, the rewards will be granted. There's this weird thing where we can randomize the players. And I remember it was already the case with Craplight. No matter how many times we randomize it, the players that have a holder player tag, they still always show up a bit higher up than the others. So it's not like if you take one random player, it will still show up down and up, etc. But it seems like in average, and we did the study at one point with one player, in average, they will show up higher than the other ones. One random extra comment from you, Scar. It's been weird seeing so many artists in the top armies this season with the curse. It's been years since I've seen it. Yeah, I mean, that's also one thing we wanted to do there is that we know that artists have a very, very strong fan base at this point. We can call it this way. Um, and we also know that, you know, some of the units that were really the meta or close to the meta at one point early in the game, there's a lot of nostalgia for that and nostalgia, and we tried to capture that a bit. That's why we were also including the Celestial Spire or those kind of things because sorry, yeah, because we know that a lot of our players started by playing these kind of builds. So it's it's quite nice, and I think also in a way it was kind of a good way to, I would say, make the older players feel a bit more um, valued because if you're a newer player, there's no way you can level up 6 groups of RDs for one specific week. Or even if it was the new meta, you wouldn't be able to do that very quickly. All the players, they had a lot more time to level up their RDs, etc. So that was also the way we were looking into it. One thing we are considering that could be interesting is to bump certain units. We were thinking of having like unit weekends where for one weekend or 3 days or 4 days, we would boost up some of the very first units that were there in the game. Or rather, we would do it for all units, but we would start with very old units. Um, and the idea would be that, hey, if you're an older player, you get that kind of small advantage. If you're a newer player, we're kind of bringing to you, um, we kind of put in the spotlight a unit you might have never used because it was never the meta since you joined the game. So that could be interesting as well. Mystic Fog Cookie, you're saying, do you have a setup for Necromancer? I don't personally, but I'm sure that if you go to our Discord server and ask, there will be players coming up with great proposals for you because they always do. Let's be real, they absolutely always do. So yeah, that's one thing where we're gonna be looking into this kind of not even maybe weekend events or whatever, but something of that sort. That from time to time put one unit in the spotlight. Um, that could be quite interesting, and make an entire thing around it to say, oh, there's one unit in the spotlight during that weekend. You're getting a bit more shards of that unit. You're getting offers that are a bit better for that unit. You're getting access to all the skins for that unit, or maybe we are bumping the the chances to get that unit in the in with Eternite, etc. There's something we could do with units there that could be boosting the stuffs a bit. The main thing is we have to know which unit to do it for. One thing that we've been doing in another game that could work is to basically get you guys to vote. So imagine that we do that every 3 or 4 weeks or every 2 seasons or something like this. Then then we could get you to vote for out of 4 units. Which one do you want to in there? And once you guys vote, we could have a small event where this unit is a bit stronger for the duration of the event. You get easier access to shards and get such things going. That could be a thing. Really, we need to we need to consider that. You want a bard event, yeah, but the thing is, if we do a bard event, they will want to sing. Like, do we really want them to sing? Wasn't it in? I've read that the other day that a lot of D&D players got upset because at one point they decided that the bards class, they didn't have to sing all the time anymore, and that they could actually speak. And I found that extremely funny that people would get upset about that. But yeah, I mean, if we go with the vote system, the benefit is, whatever gets the most vote gets the most vote. The mute bard, yeah, the infamous mute bard. I think, yeah, we are done, guys, with the fight nights. Yes. So I'm gonna just cut this, get the rewards granted. Okay. So thank you guys for joining us on that stream. It was actually quite short this time around. Maybe because my army sucked. I don't know, but it was quite short. Anyway, we had a great time. We talked about quite a few things that are coming. Please make sure to share any feedback you have on the Clan Wars suggestion that we shared, and also on the design for the battle reports. If you have any ideas that you want us to include in there, etc. For the time being, that will mostly be it from me today. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to each other in 2 weeks, where we should be sharing with you the commander screen. That's at least the goal that we're aiming at. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful evening. Bye.